Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to have a look at Henrik's watch. Henrik, you might remember from the Peugeot 404 road trip movie video, is the proud owner of this Doxa. Now he did some work on my car, so I'm going to do some work on his watch. I do believe he picked this up somewhere on his travels. I can't remember where, but it's got a pretty patina look to it, which he seems to like very much. So what we're going to do is give it a good service so that it will perform as well as it can, and then we're going to give him a new strap, because this one, well, I think it's more of a hazard. It will fall off the watch than anything else. So we're going to get that strap off, get him a new strap, but we're also going to give the movement a full service. Start by getting the strap off, because otherwise it's going to be in the way. Get the case back off, and there we have the Doxa movement. Well, I'm quite happy. I haven't looked at the movement so far, but this looks to be in very good condition. So hopefully it will be a straightforward service. First thing I'm going to do is also got to take the bezel off, because this will come out from the front. And then we're going to take these two case screws off. One here. They're an old couple. Obviously one's gone missing at some point. Besides that, yeah, no, this looks pretty good. Taking this watch apart, I'm going to put it on time lapse so that we can focus on putting it back together later on, which, as you all know, is pretty much the exact opposite of taking it apart. Just going to find a little slot for the bezel. Pretty tight. Maybe it does come out from the front. I don't think so, but I'll try taking it out from the front first, because sometimes I'm a bit surprised by how these work. I don't want to. So this actually does come out the back. It's good. I didn't force it. I couldn't see a slot for the bezel. That seems to be a permanent bit on the watch here, or at least I can't see one which easily lifts it up. So I don't want to try my luck out on that. So we're going to clean this up. We could have the case replated, but Henrik seems to don't mind this patina look, so we're just gonna go with that for now. And if he ever wants to replate it in the future, we'll get it sorted. Dial, it's yeah, just has that aged look to it. The good thing is the movement looks to be in good condition, and I have good belief that we'll get this running fairly well. So this movement is not a shock protective movement. As you can see, there's no, so I've taken the regulator off. You have to do that. The regulator is held in place by this chaton that also screws down and holds the, well, it holds the regulator in place and works as a cap tool. So to fit these, I have to take the balance off, and first oil this, put the regulator on, screw it down, and then attach the hairspring that has to go into the regulator pin here, which is you've got this little screw on top which you turn, and you connect the boot to the balance cock. So what I'm going to do is place the shut on here for the capsule. Then you have to place the regulator on top of that, like so. And then you put the balance cock underneath. You find your fitting screws, they're screwed on from the underside. Slightly tighten one first, and then we can do the other. Now that I've put oil in the lower capsule and the upper capsule for the balance, we can just see that the balance moves freely. And we can also test how straight the hairspring looks, etc. That's a good start. I'm also going to tighten the balance cock screw to make sure that it does not seize up at that point. Very good. For the mainspring, I actually have a original ETA1080, which sounds promising. Okay, we'll unwind that, and because it's probably got fairly old lubrication on it, we're going to clean that up and put it on. You can see that's a blued effect on the mainspring. That's the old school. But I'm going to add a bit of new lubrication to that, a bit of grease, so that it is up to date. It will slide nicely. So what I do when I do that is I put a bit of grease on both sides. Take a bit of watchmaking paper and smear it evenly over, like so. Now I'm going to, I don't use a mainspring winder, I don't like them. I like the feel of putting them in manually. So you've got a little hook on the end here, which you put in the notch in the barrel. And then you gently curve gently curve the mainspring into the barrel. Right, now I've put the barrel back together. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on the center wheel holes, and we can fit the center wheel in place. A little bit of oil on the wall of the top here of the center wheel pivot, second wheel, and then we can put the bridge back on. There we go. Now we can also fit the barrel. The center wheel and barrel in place, we can now fit, there's a hole in this bridge here for the third wheel. There's a fiber, get rid of that, can't have any of those in there. Escape wheel. Before I drop the fourth wheel in, I'm just going to give that a little bit of droplet of lubrication here, 9010 light oil. There we go. What I almost forgot, which luckily I didn't, is the setting lever screw. It has to be in place before the bridge comes down. Like so. And for the gear train bridge. Alright, I'm gonna push on the gear train bridge underneath the mark scope because I'm afraid of breaking pivots if I don't. With the bridges in place, I can now tighten them down with the bridge screws. This screw is specifically for the ratchet. Before I put the ratchet in, I'm going to fit the ratchet spring into the under microscope. It's a bit fiddly. Now fitting the crown wheel, which is the intermediate ratchet wheel basically. Here's the ratchet wheel. Very nicely decorated on this movement, these ratchet wheels. Got a nice beveled, highly polished edge on there and very fine sunburst pattern on top. Very high grade. And also a nice finish on those screws as well. Surface finish on the bridges, although this little bit scratch is very nice. You got this very smooth finished and a highly polished beveled edge, and you have pelage underneath the escape wheel. Overall very good actually, very nice looking movement. At this point I'm now going to oil the gear train, so all the pivots. So here you can see somewhat of a close-up of the oil. Might have been a tiny bit rich in this instant, but that's pretty much where you want to go. You want to fill half the cup with oil, not have it overflowing or not too little. I've flipped the movement around, I've lubricated the gear train. Now it's time to fit the setting and winding mechanism. I can start by putting grease on the winding stem. I like to just kind of cake that in nicely, as you will have a lot of sliding action on this. It's kind of like an even distribution of the grease. Put some in where the setting lever pin holds the stem in place. Next I got the sliding pinion. I can let that fall in there. Give that a little bit of grease where it has contact point with the yoke. After that, I have the winding pinion. Now this one, I will grease a little bit where it engages with the sliding pinion. Drop it in place like so. Now insert the stem. To hold this all in place, I'm going to fit the setting lever. Setting lever of course has the screw on the other side, so I'm going to lift this up and screw the screw in. Be off camera a second. There we go, now that's in place. Next we're going to put the yoke down. Any moving sliding surface can benefit from a little bit of lubrication. It's in the wrong way, good to put this in the right way, otherwise we'll have some major issues. There we go. This yoke will slide on the setting lever, so I'll put a bit of grease there. I'll put a tiny bit of grease where it touches the yoke spring as well. Now it's time for the yoke spring. Get sandwiched down there. Before I put the setting lever on, I'm going to fit the cannon pinion and the intermediate winding wheels. Cannon pinion is a clutch that allows you to set the time, so it will slide on the center wheel, but it's tight enough for the center wheel to drive the hour and minute hand. Here's the engaging wheel with the setting mechanism that goes in there. That has a bevel on the lower end, so the beveled end is what engages with your sliding pinion. Now, we did have a broken setting lever spring. Fortunately, I have a spare. Well, I thought I had a spare. This doesn't fit, does it? As I was saying, fortunately, I have a spare one. These are the same as on the second generation of Telematics. So yeah, they can be very difficult to find, but luckily this one was available, so we use that. The job of the setting lever spring is actually to hold your position either in winding or setting. Keep the grease there on the actual where the spring engages with the setting lever. Nice, that works. Excellent. Now there's a little bridge that holds the intermediate wheels in place. They have the most tiny screws. This one. Here's two. Good stuff. They're in place. There's good friction in the cannon pinion. Now wind the movement. Let's tidy up a little bit of the excess grease so it's nice and tidy. We can flip it around. And now it's time for the fitting the pallet fork, and then we can wind the watch and hopefully it will run. So for the pallet fork, I'm going to do this under the microscope because I really don't want to break the pallet fork pivot. I've done a couple of times, and usually happens on very expensive watches, so it should be fine this time around, but I'll be careful nonetheless. Okay, pallet fork fitted and lubricated. Let's see if this watch will start ticking again. Trick is to get the impulse pin into the pallet. There we go. Turn that around so it will engage with the pallet. Make sure that the pivots are somewhere where they should be, like so. It's pretty hard. There we go. Good, that didn't break. Sometimes these can be quite tight and it's a bit nerve-wracking to push them down. But we have a ticking watch. It's a good start. Now let's go and see how it performs. So I've adjusted the beat error and I'm very happy with where it landed, 0.1. It's not collet adjusted, so you have to take the, well, it is collet adjusted, it doesn't have a regulator on the balance cock like more modern watches have. I've also adjusted the time, so it does fluctuate a little bit. But considering the aging condition of the watch, I think that is acceptable. So it goes a little bit wavy from -3 to +3. If I turn it around to dial up, beat error actually improves and it runs slightly, well, pretty much the same, I would say, slightly faster. But for this watch, that's good enough. Now it's time to fit the hour wheel that comes on here. The hour wheel also has a washer, goes here, and then we can fit the dial. Now tightening the dial screws, a bit off camera. Now we can fit the hands. Okay, pretty happy with that. Gotta make sure that the spacing is good. That's close, but not too close. It's good. And the last thing to fit is the sweep second hand. we go, that's the movement in the case again. Double check that the setting lever is tight, like so. Nice. Go under the microscope, remove any fibers that might have gotten on there while I was putting the hands in place, and put the case back on. So there you have it, movement fully serviced, back together. We've regulated it as well as we can. I haven't gone to town on all the details, but we did replace the mainspring, and we have replaced the broken setting lever. So we've kind of gone into the mechanical aspects of this without overdoing it on the cosmetic. We could have had the case restored, but we haven't. But I think it all kind of goes together with the dial patina, so it's going to be a quite cool looking watch. Just need to find a nice strap, and then it will be ready for Hendrik in Holland. I think you'll be very happy to get this back. Next, we're going to put the case back on. There we go. I like to snap it in so you can get to the groove on the back here. Let's set that for the winning shot. Pretty cool watch, very nice size on this. This is a 36mm case, I'll confirm that and put in the description. But yeah, very cool watch. I guess it's between 1946 and 1952, probably 40s, but overall very nice Doxa in patinated condition. Movement looks good, and it's now performing good enough for this kind of watch. Till next time, hope you have a good one.